Welcome to Wise Woman Stories, where every woman has a story and every story holds wisdom. I'm your host, Delia Quigley, and the stories you'll hear will remind you that wherever you are in your life, there is something here for you. My guest today, Renata McConnell, has spent years walking the bridge between the visible and the invisible worlds. An artist, healer, and spiritual teacher, Renata's path has led her through energy medicine, shamanic traditions, crystalline healing, and profound spiritual transmissions that shape the work she now shares worldwide. In this conversation, we begin where all journeys begin, in childhood, and follow the thread through awakening, spiritual initiation, and the unfolding of a life devoted to healing and higher consciousness. This is a conversation about intuition, transformation, and what it means to awaken your heart.
I grew up in Ontario, Canada, one of 8 children to a single mom of 8. So I was near the end, the 7th child. So as you can imagine, I was often on my own, in my own world, and doing my own thing. I guess that's where it started, having time alone with my own self.
Looking back, were there any clues in your childhood that prepared you for this path ahead?
Well, I had my sister encourage me around age 16 because I used to hear, let's just call them ghosts, and I did not want to hear ghosts. I wasn't comfortable with that energy. And she would laugh when I was saying, like, I'm scared of them. And she was, oh, yeah, they're fine. They're friendly. She would just giggle about it, where I had the different response to it.
Let's move forward then from 16. You were already, were you visually seeing ghosts, or were you all audible?
I was very clear to spirit saying, I don't want to see anything.
Okay, but you continued to hear.
And feel.
So, but when did you begin to make this transition? Did you start studying with someone? Did
No.
someone say, oh, those are really this, and you began to put it together?
No, I had a series of losses. That sister that I referred to passed away when I was 16. And then 10 years later, my first child passed away. And the real connection with spirit happened in the loss of my first child, because he was such a light being. And when I carried him, he was such a light being. I didn't know those words at the time. I mean, I was 26. I didn't know, but I just knew the feeling. And after is when everything opened up for me. Like, through the extreme grief, I felt the extreme love. I knew immediately, and I don't know how, that it was all happening for a reason. I did not know what the reason was, but I knew that there was a reason. And the love and the connection from spirit and him was so huge that it, within the extreme grief, it was like the low and the high were both there.
What awakened first? Your intuition, these healing gifts you have, or just, okay, what is this? Your spiritual curiosity. What's happening to me here?
Oh, it's definitely intuition is open first. And really, it's what runs behind everything I do. It's the feeling, it's the intuition. That's present in everything I do to this day. It's my highest sense, my multidimensional ability to feel things and intuit things and just having a knowing.
Would you define that now that as your heart knowing, your crystalline heart awareness? Was that when the crystalline heart was beginning to awaken?
I'm not sure if I would say that. I would just say there was the knowing, there was an awareness or a guidance always
So you were 26, you were married, right? And what kind of life were you living?
Oh, we lived out in a cute little town, a little mill town with just, I don't know, maybe 100 people, a little house. I worked as a resource teacher, working with children with special needs. Yeah, that's where a lot of this processing of this happened.
Okay, so mostly you're processing your grief.
Yeah, and my sister's grief.
What begins to emerge? So, because you began to study with Donna Eden and energy medicine, how old were you when you started those studies?
Somewhere around 2007. So I don't know how old I was then. But in the meantime, like we moved to Texas, and that's where I had two of my other children. And then we came back, we came here to North Carolina. And that's when the kind of teaching things opened up, was in North Carolina.
It's a really big transition for a woman who's married and children and, raising her family, to then just go, oh, I want to be an energy healer. I mean, where does that come from? Not just for you and you as a master teacher, other women coming to you or going, I don't know why I want to do this. What is calling me? So what called you to energy healing?
I was going to say, if I was honest, this was a saltwater pools. It was to get away from my children for a long weekend. It was a spa. My friends were all going, and I thought, oh, well, at least they have this and that. And then I went. I didn't know I was a healer, like a chosen healer. So I think spirit used every which way to lure me in, and it was a long weekend at a spa with my friends, right? It was all for my own healing. I didn't really think about healing another person. I really didn't. I didn't think of a business. It was just like, okay, I'll go and do the spa and do my healing and get, trade sessions and learn how to do this. And really for my own and my children, like helping them. And that's how it started, just my own self-healing.
Isn't that how it usually starts for someone?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I look back. I'm like, yeah, it actually, and it's a great motivation, right? Because if you become a healer, you need to work on your healing.
And then you know how others suffer. You know what everybody else is going through. So you went from working with Donna Eden in energy medicine, and you began to apprentice with Cindy Dale. So you were going deeper.
Into the multi-dimensional work. Like Cindy's work is all in the fields and in the chakras in the body as well. But like she's massively talented in the multi-dimensional world. So I studied with her for a year. I went through her apprenticeship.
Who were the Q'ero elders?
The Q'ero elders?
Yeah.
They're shamans that, again, I didn't know I was, let's just say, a chosen shaman. I had an awakening, a near-death kind of experience in Peru. In 2009, my daughter and I started a nonprofit to build libraries there. And we went, and I didn't know I had a hyper sensitivity to altitude. And the village we chose was up at 11,000 feet. So anyway, I had a couple interesting experiences. And the shamans that I met, in reflection of helping me clear some of the experiences that happened in Peru, said that was my real awakening into the shamanism.
Did you just stumble upon these elders?
Did I happen upon them? Yes, they came here in my backyard and did energy sessions. I have so many. There's not just one lineage that has worked with me. There's the twin shamans of Peru. There's Don Mariano, Don Francisco, Donna Juana. These different shamans that have brought different work to the U.S. to help people heal and helped teach someone like me how to do the work to remove the deeper imprints and working with stones, because they said what they told me is I'm a crystal or mountain shaman. I don't use like ayahuasca or that kind of stuff. I use stones, the stone medicine. You fast forward and I'm working with crystals, right? Like that makes sense.
You've gone from energy healing to multidimensional work with the energies, and then you've been chosen to become a shaman. So that you would say you're a shaman.
Yes, I know a lot of people say you're a shamanic practitioner or whatever. I have abilities. I don't do everything that every different shaman does, and neither do any of them. Like everyone has their own thing. So I have an ability to work in that realm when needed.
That realm,
Yeah,
what is that realm? What is that realm?
It's like just working with some really, it can be dense patterns, really dense ones. And I think of like crystalline as a really high frequency. But to get to this high frequency, I need to sometimes, depending on how much work a person has done, work with these really dense energies. So I feel like shamanism has given me that ability to get in and do that so that I can go off and do that. So kind of like a one-stop shop. You can go from here to here. And having all Eden Energy Medicine and Cindy Dale's apprenticeship, and I'm a Reiki master teacher too. So having all of that on the scale allows me to just move through seamlessly in a session.
So this is your preparation, right? And then in 2013, you have a download. I call it a download. So you were given, what were you given? It's called the Quantum Crystalline Energy Healing.
Yeah, so I received the full teachings of quantum crystalline energy healing in a morning.
Okay, so what exactly happened? You know, people want to know, what does it mean I received?
So kind of like the knowings I was telling you before, but on this particular day, I woke up with a massive migraine. I got the kids off to school and I went back to bed, closed all the blinds, made sure there was no light coming in the room. And migraines weren't my thing. I think that was the first one I had. And went to bed. And I probably woke up maybe an hour later. I don't know. I was just right out. And when I woke up, I looked up and there was this light reflection on the ceiling. And it was whatever, it looked like water moving on, light. So I looked around and was trying to think, where is this light coming in? Because I had blacked out all the windows and I was watching it, but I couldn't move in bed. I don't feel like I was pinned, but I was just staying there. So I heard, write that down. And I'm looking up thinking, like, what is here? So I kind of turn my head and see an old journal, and I'm talking dusty, and an old pencil that I must have sharpened with a knife at one time. And I'm trying to capture this image, and it's shimmering. So anyway, I capture it. It changes. And this happens again and again and again. They're saying, capture that. So I'm taking, 10 tries trying to capture what this image looks like. Now, because I was a Reiki master, I knew it was a symbol, right? So anyway, at the end, after about 13, I don't even know it was the end, but it was the end for me. I closed up the book and tossed it. And when I got up off the bed, I couldn't stand. My legs were like jello, and I crawled across my bedroom floor, out the door, and down my stairs. So 2 weeks later, I told my Eden Energy mentor, oh my gosh, I had this really weird thing happen. Okay, now also, going back, my nervous system, I just shook and shook and shook. Like it was, my energy couldn't contain it. Those are words I use now. I just say I shook for 6 months. So I told my mentor about it, and she said, well, Renata, if you got that, I believe you. Brought over a couple others, and they sat on my bedroom floor and just sat there, helped ground me, and said, okay, write the symbols out nice and slow. And that's how it started.
And was that the first part of the quantum crystalline energy healing? Because I know there's one, two, three parts, correct?
There are four.
Four,
And
okay.
that was all of them came through. So 2 weeks later, it was Easter. And I was told I put the turkey in the oven. So we're going to mix this. Okay, you're a mom trying to act normal here. And hey, and I hear spirit say, go upstairs and write this down. I'm like, hey, I'll be right back. Everybody found
It's
their eggs.
Thanksgiving. What do you want?
Yeah, I'll be right back. And I was up here in this room for, I don't know, a couple hours and just, it's still the original. I've never put it in print. This little chicken scratch, what they gave me of all the teachings. I didn't believe in crystals before that. I did not own a crystal before that. And they told me the names of the crystals that went with 1, 2, 3, and 4. After this all happened, I sat on the floor and cried and said, you take this back. I don't want to be the crazy crystal lady. And look at me now. I also knew I'd never be the same. So I also told my husband, I'm never going to be the same person. Like everything changed in that moment.
Okay,
I
so
used to
wait, but
do.
let's stay with that for a moment, just out of
Okay.
curiosity, and everybody's curiosity there. All this has happened to you over the course of what, like 10 years, right? Or
And most massively in that year.
okay. So what does your husband think? What are your kids thinking? Who is she? What's happening to her?
I'm not sure. He was just, I used to do feng shui before that massive download came in. So think of that energy. I was a feng shui consultant and I had to stop. I had to sit on the back deck for 6 months to get my nervous system to regulate. I just couldn't go anywhere without shaking.
This was after the quantum energy.
This is after it came through.
Right.
So he was like, well, to be honest, he said, I feel like I've been married to 25 different women anyway. So what's the difference? So one more. I'm kind of like, what? So it's like, you're always changed. I never noticed it, but
Okay, so for listeners unfamiliar with the quantum crystalline energy healing, can you explain what it is?
so it's a multi-dimensional high frequency energy. So we're going, if you're going from the low, dense fear, doubt, shame, up to pure bliss and light and love. To slow down for a second. When it came through and spirit told me what it was, because I thought, oh, maybe this is crystal Reiki. I didn't know what was happening. I was trying to put some label on it. And they said it's crystalline. They said, call it crystalline because at this time, people will not want to hear Christ-like frequency. That's what it is. It's the white light Christed frequency, meaning pure love without being religious, just coming in through our spirits or through our souls, through our bodies, and activating the pure Christed, pure soul, God spark, however you want to call it, the purity of innocent love and light that you carry in your heart. So, like as above, as below, as in, as out. So, what we often need is that infusion to come in and remind us, this infusion to flush out the impurities, meaning fear, doubt, anxiety, whatever it is. So that high frequency energy can come in and flush out what needs to be released. In the meantime, it's also activating the heart, activating the DNA, healing your cells, releasing your imprints. When I say multidimensional, for me, as the practitioner that I am, I can go past, present, future, up and down and find out where your block is and imprint. So that's what I call multidimensional. I'm able to travel through space and time and find out what is blocking you from being the love that you are. What's happening now, the awakening, and people are coming to this point in their lives of having an activation and awakening, not in the abrupt, life-changing, life-altering way that I did. Hopefully some will, but in a more graceful way where their system can already be worked with to hold more light. You know, I said I shook for 6 months and had to give up my whole practice. You don't have to do that. That's what Crystalline 1, 2, 3, and 4 does. 1 clears the 7 chakras and starts getting the DNA ready for more light. We're all going to receive more light. We are doing it now. Level 2 clears the hormones. And when I say clears, it's taking out those imprints. If you heard you'll never amount to anything and you stored it on your ovary or you stored it in your liver or lungs or whatever, then it clears that, finds out where it is, clears the organs, and starts getting the fascia going, which is this light matrix in our body, getting it ready, you know, like I think like a glow stick, you know, that maybe you don't have much light there and we're just popping. Eventually that pure light's going to go through and travel through your and nourish all your hormones. Level 3 works with where you stored all these kind of imprints in your spine and nervous system. I said level 3, I hope. Level 4 is the heart.
I always find it fascinating, the process over time, and usually takes a long time for someone such as you, and they're your first downloadings, even as a young girl, finding the teachers and then the practice and then having the, you know, the grief and the suffering that then brings you into more awareness and more awakening. And then in 2020, after you've been working with the quantum crystalline energy healing, you have another huge moment in which you download the information for your book, the Awakening Your Crystalline Heart. Tell us how that happened.
I was like, just like any other normal person, I was out getting my groceries. I came home carrying 2 bags, and I walked into the kitchen and I heard a voice outside of my head very loudly. To me, it was Yeshua. And he said, put those down. And I literally dropped the bags. I've never heard a voice outside and Jesus or Yeshua say, put those down. And then said, the next what I heard internally was, something's going to hit the fan. Okay. Then I was guided up here into the room I'm in now to bring all my high frequency crystals, I have the big 35-pound quartz here, all the high frequency, and started setting up the room, which this used to be my practice room before I opened the boutique. So it was sitting kind of still for 6 months. Then anyway, I did all this. And the next day the channel started and Yeshua came through with 55 channels about judgment, bitterness, anger, resentment, bliss, love, hope, just one after another. I would just write whatever the title is called and down, and I just toss them on the bed that's there. That's how that was 55 days. I didn't know about COVID and at the time, and I was just cocooned in this energy frequency that came through.
Did you know as you were writing it that this would be a book?
No, but I know that I taught Crystalline 1, 2, and 3. And I said at some point to Spirit, I'm not teaching 4. It's too sacred. I don't know who should be in, who shouldn't be.
Oh, that was the one about the heart, number 4. Yeah.
Yes, that's number 4 is the heart. You know, I kind of slipped over that. Well, I tried to skip over it with Spirit and be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And then all of a sudden I get these downloads, which I'm like, okay, what is that? You know, and when I say downloads, I am so high frequency. I'm walking around like think I'm floating on a cloud or something because you're just in bliss. Then I came up after the 55 days. I had to sleep in here and stay in that frequency. But after the 55 days, I got a day out for good behavior, I think. And then I came back and Mother Mary gave me the key codes, which would be the kind of what is holding back. Like if you're in, let's say, judgment, and you're really like, you know, maybe you have a lifetime you came and you're judging everything, and that's really, you're struggling with that. Well, Mother Mary came in and said, stubbornness is the key code. Stubbornness is the key to flip this. And, you know, lots of times I'm kind of like, I don't get it. But I just wrote them down. And then later after those, and which one they said it went to. I didn't pick any of them. They said this goes to this goes to this. And the same with the crystal. Mary Magdalene came in and said, this is the crystal that goes with that. So I'd write down the word and put it with whatever chapter. And then I had to go back. This is when I found out that I had to do some work. I just thought, wow, this is really cool information. And then I got the assignment that you need to put it together and write about it. So that's the book. So the channel comes first. You'll see the key code. And then my writing as a human who's actually gone through all these chapters many times, like hard suffering for 5 years. And at the end of 5 years, I said, I just can't do another day like this.
Yeah, you had to experience each one of them.
I was in resentment for, I woke up resenting everything. I went to bed I think I was like, man, if I was like an actress in a study thing, like I had that down. You couldn't talk to me without me being resentful. And it was about 6 weeks. I thought, I'm gonna die. Like this is awful.
What broke it? What broke the chain with resentment?
I went to bed and said, I can't do this another day. I can't do it. Yep. I thought I got it. I'll figure it out how to write this. And I woke up the next morning in judgment. Judgment. It literally went like that, Delia, for 5 years. 5 years. So I know these chapters. I know them. They're in my body. I know. I figured out, oh, yeah, judgment. You're too darn stubborn to change your opinion. Oopsies. Okay, got it.
Right. So I think that's what's really important is that each one of those were experienced by you. So you could write from that experience as well as, what you were instructed to write. It's a nice combination so that when people are going through it, they can feel that can relate to me as well.
And you don't have to be religious to do this book. Like that, it isn't about religion, it's about spirituality. And I mean, I was surprised when this energy came through in that way, because when Crystalline came through, it was called the Crystalline Council. Now I was thinking about it. Oh, okay, who's on the council? Maybe Yeshua, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene were on the council. And they came down in frequency raised to help me get this energy out to people and to hold the energy of love. And that it is templated on earth, the path of love. This is the path of love, this whole book, all my teachings, getting you back to the heart. The reality is we as humans are working through these emotions and these states, right? But often we're working on them out here without the destination in mind. The destination is back into this pure love, and it's also your origination. So when you realize that is who you are, the divine love, it's inside you, and you're going back to that, even though you are already it, it's like whatever, wherever you're coming from, whatever you need to know about that. But the heart, the pure heart, and I call the crystalline heart, is that multidimensional frequency around your physical heart. That is that pure love vibration grid, just like the earth grid that's holding it all together. And, there's light coming in.
So the separation, that we're raised with, our separation from God, from spirit, from ourselves, separation from nature, separation from anything other than this physical body. Much of that's what you have to overcome with teaching people as to that crystalline heart connection, that there is no separation. That's the hardest thing, because you got to go through, many generations of belief to get to the fact that there is no separation. I am that, right? I am love, right? Yeah. So why? Well, I want to say that there's a lot of work appearing by women, some men who are downloading or receiving these teachings of love from specifically, Mary and Mary Magdalene and Jesus and angels and there's people who are going to poo-poo that, and there's got people who are going to be like, wow, this is really happening a lot, and it makes sense. So Why now?
Well, we're in the Great Awakening, where masses of people are awakening. And my work is to make it easier. Like, life doesn't have to be so hard. I mean, listen, I wouldn't want anybody to go through the journey I went through to write this book. But it's here as a guide now. You don't have to, you don't have to think, oh my gosh, do I have this or this? Just read through. And, if you blame starts triggering and you're in the blame chapter, and there's a way to heal it. Every single chapter has a way to heal it. And in doing that, you start to move these things in your body, because everything's connected. You heal blame, like the client I had yesterday. Well, everything starts to flow.
You open the pathways.
Yeah, open the pathways. And then if you want to go into my other body of work, it's like, okay, well, you open the pathways and heal this, and you start attracting abundance, and it's all connected. And you heal your ancestors, and you heal your life, your future life. Like, it's a huge benefit to do this work. And it doesn't have to be as hard. Like, listen, there's nothing more fun and joyous than holding on a crystal to help you move through the heart pain. You look at it like, oh my God, it's so gorgeous. And I'm suffering over here. Yes, you are, because you're probably carrying ancestral stuff and your own pains and sufferings. And this is a way to help you move through it now. Because if you are thinking, oh my gosh, I came to this world for something more, you did. And, you just have to, like, okay, I want to go out and party or whatever, but I got to clean my house first, or I want to have guests over and I want them to really be, in my heart. Well, I should maybe clean up a bit. It's the same, in our souls, our bodies, our lives, to clean up some of the stuff that you might have pushed down for a later day.
Take us through what you're offering. If someone wanted to work with you or get in touch with you, what would those be?
I have a few that I do in person. I do week-long ones for people who fly in and are wanting to experience, like, all those modalities we just talked about, all the things that I can do and work with the body and the nervous system while bringing in these high infusions of light. I do the quantum transformation coaching and work with high-performing women who want to make a greater impact, share their offerings. They're mission-based. Usually they're very heart-based people that are just living lives and need to clear divorces, losses, things that are getting in the way, trauma, or want, people who come to me want to manifest, whatever that is. That's often in a 3 or 6 month coaching program. I do one-on-one retreats to France to do activations, whether it's in the Mary Magdalene lineage or over with Mother Mary in Lourdes. And such a beautiful opportunity to open the heart and be in that portal of energy. Crystals, I sell crystals. And the book, yes, the book is a great gateway. I mean, along came Spirit and said, this is for the masses, the book. And they were brilliant. Like, I was the last to know what this was. I was just doing the work. And then I was kind of like, oh, like they pulled one over on me. Like, because I was like, I'm not doing it. No way. And here it is for the mass. And it's brilliant. And it's perfect for you to start your journey, do your healing. You can go as deep as you want and have a connection both with me and Spirit throughout. It's a living transmission, so it has frequency to help you shift. That's the journey I'm on, to bring it out and build a greater community of the heart for the greater cosmic heart, the divine heart. We're all one cell in the cosmic heart of the divine. Now we're just going to join together and have a little bit of fun.
Renata's story is a reminder that healing is a journey of uncovering layer by layer until what remains is the essence of who we are, and about clearing what has stood in the way of love, truth, and the deeper intelligence within us. You can learn more about Renata and her work on her website, crystallineenergyhealing.com. Thanks for listening to Wise Women Stories. I'm your host, Delia Quigley. You can explore more on deliaquigley.substack.com. Until next time, honor your journey and trust what is awakening